The Eagles have divided us so much. You wouldn't believe that we're one of the winningest franchises of the last half a decade. Not the way we fight with each other over this offensive coordinator role. We're going to talk about it. Sixers, huge win last night, which had two very important things happen in it. We're going to talk about that. Phillies, Flyers, whatever else you want to talk about. Trending in the AM. We're taking your thoughts and opinions. We're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome all to Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., 90 minutes, plus the sports talk, taking your thoughts and opinions. And before we get into today's topics, please do me the favor, hit the like button on your screen wherever it is. Share this out on your social media platforms, and, of course, subscribe to the STT Sports Network. We're down to one hand. We're down to 5 subscribers away from 1,000. Please like, subscribe, share. It's free to do. It's free to support your local content creators. It's free to, help this channel grow to where I think it should be. I'd greatly appreciate it, guys. Even if you're watching this on replay, please hit those buttons and drop your comments on replay. I will respond to them all, guys. I'm Phil Stiefel, and we've got lots to get into as we do every single morning. The Eagles' offensive coordinator search continues. As the world turns, as the OC candidates rotate, 2-3 more names thrown into the mix with the Eagles and the OC search, and I'm tired, and I'm exhausted by it. Let me just say, I'm over it, right? I'm over fighting with people that it's Nick Sirianni's fault. I'm over fighting with people that nobody wants to coach Jalen Hurts. I'm over the random rumors that 15 people have turned down the Eagles. I'm over it all right? This is it. We're going to talk about it one more time today, right? We're going to get our opinions out of the way. And then until the offensive coordinator is hired, after today, we're not discussing it anymore. This is the end of the conversation because I'm over it. Poll question of the day on the YouTube channel. What is to blame for the lack of an OC yet being hired? No one wants to work with Nick Sirianni. No one wants to coach Jalen Hurts. Philly fans are dangerous with eggs, or none of the above. Be patient. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to stop thinking about it. I'm going to stop worrying about it. Davis Webb, Broncos passing game coordinator, is now in the mix for the Eagles. Sean Mannion is now in the cards for the Eagles. And Tanner Engstrand is in the cards for the Eagles. All names that people are kind of interested in. All names that weren't on the board till 2 days ago, till 1 day ago, till less than 24 hours ago. So I'm okay with the being patient there. We're going to talk about it, though, one more day. Sixers, last night, 139-122 victory over the shorthanded Milwaukee Bucks. I know the Milwaukee Bucks are shorthanded. I know, they're not. They're more looking for the number one overall pick than winning, okay? But two big things came out of last night's game, not even counting Joel Embiid, okay? Part one that came out of the game, Paul George and his 32 points on 21 shots. Paul George can score still, I guess. He doesn't have to. He's not the focal point of the offense. But knowing that if he needs to, he can. Massive, massive win for the Sixers last night. Seeing what Paul George can do. And Jarrett McCain, off the bench. Quinny Grimes did not play last night with an injury. So Jarrett McCain's minutes upticked last night. And guess what? The ball started going through the hoop. The confidence in Jarrett McCain started to return. Yeah, Joel Embiid played great last night, and it's crazy to think at 31 years old, after all the injuries and all the doubt and all the problems, that Joel Embiid could go out there and dominate in the first half like he did, dropping 29 points. I think he had 28 of those 29 in the, first half. Being a little sarcastic with that, but yeah. But that's all whatever. Seeing Paul George and McCain put up buckets the way they did, huge win for the Sixers organization. Let's go to it. We're going to also talk Bill Belichick, not in the Hall of Fame, Christopher Sanchez pitching now in the World Baseball Classic, and so much more. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's get right to the comments. Good morning, Adam. Paul George led the way last night in a big win. Great to see Paul George be called upon to be the guy, offensively speaking, and be capable of carrying that load. I love it. It's great. It's a big win for the Sixers. Good morning, Duck. Wiped out on a patch of ice walking to the bus. Oh, man, might not interact much today. Are you worried? Is Jim living Rick living rent-free in your head? Is that why? Are you making an excuse? I'm just kidding. That sucks. I'm sorry. I hope you're all right. I'm sure us old people, we fall, and it hurts a lot more than we want. Good morning, Big Al. Hope you're doing well this morning. And good morning, Jimbo. Yes, Sixers were fire last night. I'm taking last night's win with a grain of salt because that's how the Hornets game should have gone, right? It didn't. We should have won last night handily. We should have won the night before handily. So I get it. But I'm looking for glimmers of hope, and glimmers of hope is Paul George and Jarrett McCain's performance last night. That's right. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We're starting this show at $9.95. We're one hand away. We're 5 away from 1K. Let's go. Let me have something. I'm so tired of the negativity with the Eagles. I am. I'm so tired of arguing with fans on who's to blame when it's really just be patient, doing due diligence. Maybe too much due diligence, but whatever. Give me something positive. Let's hit 1,000 subscribers today on this channel. It's an executive search, which takes forever. I'd rather them do that. I'd rather them take forever. And it's not just with the Eagles that they're doing an extensive search. They're doing an information poll too, right? Let's talk to all these names. What did they see what went wrong? What did they see in the run game? What would each mind do to change things? So let's pull all this information together. Let's make new connections for next year and the year after that. Nate Shieldhouse was in the cards at one point, right? Still maybe, I don't know. They interviewed him 2 years ago. It's before Brian Johnson. It's all about connections. Howie Roseman, what's he always talk about with the draft? We meet with hundreds of players. Why? So that when they become free agents down the line or don't go drafted, we've got a book on them already. The process is so important to not just who the next OC is going to be, but for the next couple years. Paul George put that just for men in the beard, and look what happened. Is that what he did? Look, it was great to see. Jokes aside, Paul George, putting up 32 points and taking 21 shots and knocking down 5 threes. It's good to see. Plus, he still plays great defense. Leave me alone, chat. This is garbage. Joe Brady is the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Nooms, that one got me. It was good. It was good. Eagles need a new OC. They do. Good morning, Little J. I told you it wasn't the 76ers. The Hornets hung 30-plus on Lakers. They never had Khan and Miller healthy. They're hottest team in NBA currently. Maybe that's the case. Maybe I don't watch it enough, the Hornets. You know what I mean? Let's hit it. Let's hit it today. Today, we're going to rally. That's right. Today's a rally day. But it starts with liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all that stuff. This is what it needs to be for the Sixers. Contributions at different times of the game from different people when the other coaches adjust, plain and simple. Look, yesterday I wanted to talk about firing Nick Nurse. Today I want to talk about, can the Sixers make it to the second or third round? Like, every day it's a different opinion. That's why we don't have expectations with the Sixers. Let's just let it play out. But last night was a fun game. Last night was a good win. Last night showed some very positive things. I was a little weirded out by how few minutes Dominic Barlow played. I know he ended up with 12, but 4 of those were in, garbage time at the end of the game. Really surprised about that. Did you mean exhaustive? No, executive. Great golf show last night. Thank you very much. Yeah, last night's golf show, Fairway to Heaven, was an excellent show. Great viewership. Thank you to anybody that at least gave us the likes, the clicks, the views, even if you're not a golf fan. A lot of great golf information, though, last night. A lot of fun conversations. I wish Bills took longer. We have stupid. The thing is, they rushed, right? The Bills may have rushed. We don't know. We don't know if Joe Brady's going to be a head coach. Wasn't he the head coach of the Chargers? He failed as a head coach already, right? Did they rush because they didn't want to lose him? Did they rush and not do a thorough search? If it comes back that Joe Brady fails, will you say that was because they didn't take their time and evaluate all options? I don't know why I thumbs up that fairway, because you appreciate the brand, okay? They were on the way to another ass third quarter, but yes, they are very horny in Charlotte right now. Solid play there. Yeah, look, it is what it is. Like, I read something on this Eagles OC search that there is, because of head coaching openings, because of teams moving on and stuff like that, and I didn't fact check this, but it was a reputable site that posted it. 18 new offense coordinators will be in the NFL next year. 18. And I bet you 7 to 10 of those 18 will get fired after 1 year. Why? Because teams are just hiring names. They're not doing an exhaustive search. They're not seeing who will fit our team, our culture, our system the best. That's so important. I never thought Joe Brady would stay at Buffalo as coach. I thought Dable was going there. Look, Brian Dable is going to Tennessee. Brian Dable is taking the easy out. Brian Dable, you know what? He was on one of the top guys on my list. And now after this process, I'm glad he's not going to be on the Eagles coaching staff. Why? Because obviously he doesn't want to be held accountable. Obviously, he wants to go somewhere in Tennessee where he's going to have 3 years. He could be subpar for a year or two. He ain't going to get fired. He's going to have job stability. He's going to go to Tennessee. If he can get Tennessee to 7 wins, he'll probably have his pick of his litter next year. There's only way to go is up in Tennessee. Now, on the flip side, there was reports that he tried very hard for the Giants to trade for Cam Ward or the spot in this draft last year so they could draft Cam Ward. So supposedly Brian Dable wanted Cam Ward, not Jackson Dart, to be the Giants, quarterback last year, and maybe things change in New York if that's the case. But supposedly he was willing to offer a lot to move up from, I think they were 3 or 4 in the draft to 1 to get Cam Ward last year, which, if that report is true, it was the 3rd pick or the 4th pick, this year's first round pick, and something else, and the Titans didn't take it. Man, they made a big mistake there. But Brian Dable took the easy job. Good for him, right? Brady was OC of Panthers with Darnold and got fired. I thought for some reason maybe I thought he was the head coach of the Panthers there, but he was the OC. Gotcha. I know he failed. I know he was a hot commodity, got a new job, got promoted, failed, and then went to Buffalo. I forget his whole timeline. Dable to Titans. He didn't play nice as head coach. Look, it is what it is, right? He took the easy out. Getting ready for UFL kickoff. When does the UFL season start? Dable would not put up with Hurts. See, I don't think that's what it is. Dable wouldn't want to be held accountable. Bill Belichick didn't get in the Hall of Fame because the NFL didn't forget about Spygate and Deflategate. Let me tell you something, Adam. The fact that you have a Hall of Fame and arguably the greatest coach of all time is not in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot unanimously just proves why there's so many problems in Hall of Fames and voting for Hall of Fames. I do not think Deflategate and Spygate have anything to do with Bill Belichick. Nothing. I don't think it has anything to do with it. Because if that's the case, then you better well believe that Tom Brady ain't getting in the Hall of Fame. And that ain't happening. Tom Brady will be unanimous in the Hall of Fame, right? So Spygate and Deflategate only affect Belichick, not Brady? What it is agendas. When you have reporters voting on the Hall of Fame, there's agendas. When you have players or fans voting for things, there's agendas, right? Bill Belichick, let's be honest, to put it nicely, was an asshole. Plain and simple. He was a dickhead to a lot of people. And they hold that against him. 100% hold it against him. His personality is why he's not in the Hall of Fame. Because he always acted like he was better than you. Okay? Which he is better than me. But outside of me, he wasn't better than anybody else. It's a crime. There should be an investigation. It should shut down the NFL Hall of Fame voting process completely. Right? Should just shut it down and start it over. Because him not getting in is just as bad as Ken Griffey Jr. missing out on 3 votes to be unanimous. Agendas. Agendas suck. Now, the voting process for the NFL Hall of Fame is different. You can only vote for 3 names, I believe it is. Or 5 names, something like that. You have to get 40 out of 50 votes to get in. He fouled there. There's a lot of different rules in NFL. I just started looking at it late last night. My notes aren't done on it. But it's crazy. It's just straight crazy. I'll look into more details about it throughout the day. You pay the price of success from a family perspective. What's up, Mitchie Pooh? What a game last night. Look, I think there's so much more to the game than just the 17-point score differential, right? It's Jarrett McCain seeing the ball go through multiple times, right? That second or third 3-point shot, he was 5 of 6 from 3. I think it was the third one. There's a little bit of a bounce in his step. Then he lined up the next one without hesitation. Then he took that super deep one, which bricked. But it was like, all right, maybe he's vibing a little bit. Paul George called upon to be the leading scorer. That little nugget there makes things so much better. Gives you a better perspective that this team, when healthy, what they can do. Loved last night's game. Loved how it played out. Loved that they took care of business against a team they should have taken care of business against. There was nothing negative that you could say about last night's Sixers game. Just because a guy took another job doesn't mean the Eagles offered him a job and turned it down exactly. And Jeff McClain, say what you will, but he is in touch with a lot of sources. He put it out there late yesterday afternoon, early last night, that the Eagles have not officially offered anyone the job yet. Nobody has turned the Eagles down. Some people withdrew their names, probably because they knew that this was going to be a long search, and these job openings are starting to fill up. If they want a job, they better get one versus waiting to see if they get the best one. Some people might want to withdraw their name because they don't want to be held accountable. But nobody has been offered the Eagles OC job and turned it down. And that is a direct report from Eagles media. Respected by some Eagles media. Belichick was better at lucking into Brady. You know what? Say it as you will. You know, whether that's true or not, that Tom Brady carried Bill Belichick or Bill Belichick carried Tom Brady, whichever one you say, whatever. Bill Belichick's got 8 Super Bowl rings, okay? 8 Super Bowl rings, 6 as a head coach. I don't care. 6 Super Bowl rings as a head coach, 8 overall. That puts you in the Hall of Fame. What do? They do gold jackets too, don't they? It's insane that he's not. The alleged cheating and being a douche in the wrong people will do it to you. See, I don't think the cheating, because if the cheating plays a part, then Tom Brady isn't in the Hall of Fame, right? And there's no way they're not putting Tom Brady in unanimously, okay? No way. It's being a douche that's keeping him out of the Hall of Fame. Maybe it's a little jealousy over his little girlfriend situation. That's it. Next step for McCain is to start running and cutting way more off the ball. I saw a little bit of him off ball moving a little bit more than normal last night. Maybe it was because he got, 25, 27, 24 minutes last night. This is the most minutes he's played in a while. Maybe he just needed some time to get in the flow of a game. Maybe you will get Davis Webb. He is up and coming. Davis Webb is obviously a name that's now available. So is Sean Mannion. He's being brought in for a second interview. Sometimes the surprise names are the right names. Maybe the up-and-comer is the right way to go. Last year was the only time the Eagles did not take their time hiring somebody. And we know how that worked out. So, yes, let me ask you, when have the Birds not taken their time to hire somebody? Every head coaching opening over the last decade was a couple decades was a long search. Kellen Moore didn't get signed till the 27th of January. Nick Sirianni was like the 9th guy they interviewed for the head coaching job. It's okay to be patient, right? It's okay to not get the big name all the time. The last big name brought to Philly, really big name, that was Chip Kelly. And after his first year, that completely fell apart. Cooter should be the hire, says Rick. Good morning, Rick. Jim Bob Cooter. He very well may be. Maybe the Eagles are going through a process. What I think might be going through the Eagles' head, and this is just my thought process, Rick, is that what they probably are doing is they really like Jim Bob Cooter. They really like Matt Nagy, right? One of those two choices is a safe, good, solid choice. We know what their track record is, right? But we got all these young guys. Let's keep interviewing these young guys. Davis Webb, Sean Mannion. Let's see what these young guys. Maybe one of these young guys pull a Nick Sirianni and just blow us out of the water. Hence Mannion being brought in for a second interview. Obviously, that has made him, whatever he said in that interview made him very, very popular in the Eagles' offices. So let's check out all the young guys. Nobody's knocking down the door to hire Jim Bob Cooter or Matt Nagy right now. They could be good, safe choices if need be. Let's do an exhaustive search. And if nobody blows us out of the water, we go back to Cooter, your opinion, or Nagy, my opinion. Both similar in the sense of experience and safety right there. Eagles OC job be risky because what if O-line don't recover? It's a great point. It's fine, and I get that, and that's a great thing. I think this scares offense coordinators more than working for Nick Sirianni or coaching Jalen Hurts. You're not wrong on that, okay? I think that's less than the O-line. A.J. Brown and the O-line are probably big questions that the OC candidates ask about. Not winning without Brady and Brady winning without him will sway one or two. Maybe that's the case. But still, it's an abomination that Brady or that Belichick didn't get in. Hall of Fame voting should be a sophisticated matter. You know me, Big Al. You know I hate analytics in sports, right? Analytics have dominated sports so much, and I hate it. I'm a feel guy. I'm an eye test guy, okay? But when it comes to Hall of Fames in all sports, I said this last night at the end of Fairway to Heaven because that news broke right at the end of Fairway to Heaven, and I asked Jason and Steven about this last night, that there should be an analytic formula for all Hall of Fames, for coaches, for players, and if you hit X, Y, Z criteria, you're in. If you don't, you're not. That is one thing where analytics or a mathematical equation should come into play. Let me tell you something. If your Hall of Fame mathematical equation does not have Bill Belichick in the Hall of Fame, then I think it's flawed, plain and simple. I like Cooter too. Chip Kelly hurt us so bad. What a disaster he was. I believe if we hired a different coach, we would have had another Super Bowl. See, I disagree, Jimbo. I think Chip Kelly did so much for this Eagles team, right? Because without Chip Kelly, we don't get Lane Johnson, right? Without Chip Kelly, we don't get Doug Peterson or Carson Wentz. Chip Kelly's failures as a head coach directly related to the greatest 10-year stretch in Eagles history. That's my opinion. Rick, that's all it is. It's due diligence. As a guy that owned a business for almost 18 years, I did my due diligence on every aspect of business, every sales rep, every employee candidate, every interview. It's called due diligence. There's nothing wrong with what the Eagles are doing. And that's why I'm getting tired of it. Everyone wants to have an agenda on why. Oh, Nick Sirianni scares them away. Jalen Hurts scares them away. Man, you might get your house egged, which was wrong. But, come on now. And maybe Hurts, maybe Sirianni, maybe the eggs are a part of it for some of these guys, right? That they don't want the job. Maybe. But, you're telling me that he will turn the job down for any of those reasons completely? I think it's nonsense. I've always wondered if Chip Kelly was unanimous hire or not. I've honestly never thought about that news. I mean, that whole week leading up to it, I was on a cruise that week. So I remember sitting in the sports bar on like the second to last night, and the Sports Center thing popped up, Chip Kelly hired. But I don't remember much about the week leading up to it because I had very minimal social media and internet access that week. Why don't people want to work with Nick? You be able to do pretty much whatever you want. It's the expectations on the job. I think expectations have so much to do with it, with the Eagles' job, right? You look at Brian Daboll going to the Titans, where there's less expectations, where 7 wins makes you a god out there in Tennessee, right? Here, it's not always going to be a one-and-done job, but over the last 4 years, they've all been done, right? 4 years, 4 new OCs. Steichen succeeds, head coach. Brian Johnson, unfairly failures, which is unfair, fired. Kellen Moore, success, head coach. And then you go back to Kevin Patullo. No success, fired. 11 wins gets you fired twice. There's expectations of getting to the Super Bowl here. That's what it is. That's at least what it is with Brian Daboll. Broncos fired their OC, Joe Lombardi. Yes, I saw that as well. Look, if you want a Sean Payton tree, there are now 2 Sean Payton tree guys available, Joe Lombardi and Davis Webb. You wouldn't have had an opportunity to talk to those 2 candidates if you rushed to hire somebody else. I don't know nothing about Joe Lombardi. In fact, I don't even think I wrote his name down. I thought I did. We're going to write his name down. Because I don't know much about him. But he worked for Sean Payton. A well-respected coaching tree guy, right? You rush to judgment and hire somebody that's less than perfect. You don't get a chance to talk to him, right? And why wouldn't you want to talk to somebody? If you love the coaching tree so much, why wouldn't you want to talk to him? Did you skip over my concerns? The OC, I put them up on the screen and I commented on all of them. You're not paying attention. My answer to the poll is the Eagles front office is usually, i.e. Lori Howie, they scare people away. Even Xander said same with Big Sills, and Belichick is not first ballot. Vote is correct. Well, first and foremost, Jonathan, good morning to you. Love and appreciate you coming here. But whenever you mention Big Sills as your reasoning for any opinion you have, your opinions are worth. Like, Big Sills is terrible. Tell Xander to tell his dad to pay people that he owes money to. But outside of that, okay, the Eagles front office have set certain expectations at certain levels. So maybe they scare people away. Maybe. But I don't know if that's necessarily true. And Belichick, not a first ballot Hall of Famer, is an insanely awful, awful opinion. He is 1,000% should be a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer, okay? And if Xander and Big Sills think otherwise, that proves my point's accurate right there, okay? I still remember when Chip traded for Sam Bradford, everyone was like, what? Yeah, the Bradford Murray offseason was just atrocious for Chip Kelly. But that first-round pick we got for Sam Bradford when he traded him away did help this team's future. I remember being at that Wing Bowl, and Chip Kelly came out and simply says, yo, Philly, and the place went crazy. We were hyped as a city, and I'm with you. I don't need the sexy coach. Yeah, no, you don't need the sexy coach. Chip Kelly was the sexy name, right? That's it. That Sam Bradford pick we got when we traded him away directly related in A.J. Brown, just so you know. Our 2 Super Bowl winning coaches weren't sexy picks. They weren't. Neither was Andy Reid. Grandson of the great Vince Lombardi. Maybe it's in his blood. Is he literally related to Vince Lombardi? I mean, that's a pedigree. You want a pedigree to hire from. Hire from the Vince Lombardi pedigree right there. Anyone know the advantages rushing to hire? So you can start building out the rest of your staff. So you can start planning the offseason, free agency, drafts and stuff like that. What you're going to need. I guess that's why you would rush. You might be. You very well might. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. Big Sills. Whenever I see Big Sills' name in anything, it's like, sorry. No offense, Jonathan. You got to do better. There's so much better content out there than Big Sills. Okay, well, if Big Sills backs you up, that should be proof that you need to reevaluate your thought process. Look, Xander's not the worst person in the world. The only reason why I have anything against Xander is because he works with Big Sills, who's a racist scumbag, plain and simple. And it's, it is what it is. Brian Mitchell should be in the Hall of Fame, but he told it how it was, and too many people were butthurt. Look, personality, people don't want to admit it. Your personality does affect whether you get into a Hall of Fame or not. It really does. And it's crazy. Belichick being called a genius was a misnomer, like America being best country on earth. Well, it is. And good morning, Phil. Thank you. I just wanted to say good morning to you first because I knew my response was going to be very negative towards your first comment, Jonathan. But that's what I love about this show. We can have this disagreement, and we discuss it, we debate it. We don't bash. If you went to Big Sills and disagreed strongly with one of his opinions, he would call you an idiot and a nitwit and a clown. Big Sills is as bad. Big Sills might be worse than PFF. Big Sills is a negative indicator. Yeah, exactly. 5 former Eagles are playing in the Super Bowl. Milton Williams, Mac Hollins, Christian Ellis, Josh Jobe, and Brady Russell. Who? I saw Ellis's name on the back of a jersey on Sunday. I'm like, I wonder if that's Christian Ellis. I guess it is. Mac Hollins, man, has carved himself out a nice career. He really has. I'm glad for Milton Williams, right? Went and took the big payday on a 4-win team and gets rewarded by going to Super Bowl. I love it. Milton Williams is a great player. I hope for nothing but success. I still have no idea where I'm going in this Super Bowl, opinion-wise, vote-wise, prediction-wise. I still got so much thought process. I really don't know where I'm at yet with my Super Bowl thought process. But it'll be great to see some former Eagles get a chance. I do think Big Sills is a bit eccentric. I don't know if he's eccentric. He's just an asshole. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's not. But once a racist, always a racist. Guys, we got 18 people watching. We don't have 18 likes. Hit the like button. Vote on the poll question of the day. What is to blame for the lack of an OC being hired? Be patient is the last option. Philly fans are dangerous with eggs is at 8%. Jalen Hurts' reasoning is 15%. 23% is Nick Sirianni, but of course, 54% say it's no big deal. Relax. Be patient. And I'm glad at least a majority of people are seeing it the right way. Mac Hollins made himself a name on special teams elsewhere. He's hung around a couple times in the last 3 or 4 years. He's thrived as a wide receiver when injuries. The dude comes up and makes big plays. It's great. I love the success he's having. Big Sills is a thin-skinned prick. Phil, welcome. Yeah, exactly. I welcome. Like, you guys couldn't act like you do in the chat with that boy. But with me, hey, it's all fun, right? There was no worse fish out of water sports media member in Philly. Oh, Josh Innes, yeah, man. I mean, Josh Innes, just like Big Sills, has been fired many of times for inappropriate behavior, for racial comments. Pick your poison. But yet, that is Innes and Sills Sills hasn't had a real true opportunity in a while now. I think he's ran out of opportunities. But these guys kept getting opportunities. Why? Because they're hot take, clickbait, bullshit attitude is why they thrive. And that's why I'm sitting here talking to 18 YouTube watchers right now, right? I picked to be patient. It's the right answer. Anyone not picking be patient is lying to themselves, is believing the hot take artists online. Josh Innes was a Cowboys fan, I think. I know he's from Texas. I don't know where. Maybe it's the Texans. Maybe I know he's a Texas guy. I don't remember where. I was going to say Houston area, but I don't know that for sure. I don't know all the ups, all the specs on Big Sills. But anyway, the reason for the negativity around the OC search is really the media sparking the fans. I read something this morning, and I instantly just moved on, right? Because it was 15. The tweet started. 15 people have turned the Eagles' job down, and then people commenting, exactly, fire Nick Sirianni. Saw more things this morning. Go out and hire Davis Webb to be your head coach and fire Nick Sirianni right now. The negativity. When you have a social media account, you should always post responsibly, right? But when you have a big social media account, when you got 5, 10, 20,000 followers, you got to use that platform the right way. Not use it to donkey out negative information like that just for the clicks. It sucks. 17 exceptionally people, not nerds. True, you're all exceptional in different ways. Yeah. Hey, you know what it is? It is what it is. I accept my place in the sports talk world. Right here with you guys. Okay? And this world is getting bigger every day. It is. This group is gaining steam every day. People may be legit turned off by the uncertainty of the O-line. Josh Allen's turnover machine, that account, he made a good point about it earlier. Okay? His point was the O-line. A.J. Brown uncertainty. Why did Jalen Hurts not run the ball? I think all three of them. Not Jalen Hurts is a bad quarterback, but why didn't Jalen Hurts run the ball more last year? Was it a scheme thing, or does he not want to do it? I think all three of those questions, because when you go on an interview, right? How many interviews have you been on? At the end of an interview, well, do you have any questions for us? Well, you better be prepared with questions. And I guarantee at least two of those three are asked from every coordinator when it's their turn to ask questions. What's the situation with the O-line? Are they on a track to be healthy? Do you have a plan to improve the depth? Will A.J. Brown be here or not? I know you can't say yes or no, but you could say more than, what was Howie Roseman's comments in the press conference at the end of the year? We like great players. A.J. Brown's a great player. I'm in the business of collecting great players. He didn't say yes. He didn't say no. He left it very open-ended. These OCs will want to hear a better answer than that. These OC candidates will want to know, will A.J. Brown be here? Well, he doesn't want to be, or they'll say, well, we don't know. He's on the block, but I'll only trade him if I get blown away by an offer. Or maybe Howie Roseman says, we're not trading him. It's all smoke and mirrors. An answer on A.J. Brown, an answer on the O-line could definitely play a factor in whether somebody wants the job. But must say that there is no hurry for an OC hire. Lori not hurried like fans are. What if KP returns? KPA won't return as OC, but he could return in some role for sure. A.J. Brown will not stay full season as a bird. And that could have a part of it as well. Hurts is a top 5 quarterback if he gives you the full package. I can't think of any modern quarterback that's top 5 if he's not dual. It's funny. I watched, somebody shared a highlight video out of the Eagles game against Tennessee from, I think it was 2 years ago. It was pre-Saquon. It was Miles Sanders' year. So actually that'd be 3 years ago. That'd be 2022. Jalen Hurts has got every damn throw in his bag. Jalen Hurts has got every skill set to run and pass in there. Okay? That game, the highlight film from Jalen Hurts from that Tennessee Titans football game from 2022. Man, let me tell you something. How could you not want an opportunity to coach that? Howie isn't going to divulge inside contract info to a guy who may not. No, I know he's not going to divulge details, right? But maybe he gives them a more or a less open-ended answer than he gives the media and fans. Maybe he helps out a little bit on where their situation is. I wish I had better answer for you is hopefully not famous last words. Nobody wants the OC job because Sirianni may be a lame duck head coach. We need to hire John Gruden as OC. I do not want to hear. There's way too many people talking about John Gruden right now. I do not want John Gruden and his negativity and his energy and his emails anywhere near Philly. Okay? I don't, first and foremost. Let's get John Gruden out of the conversation, okay? Nick Sirianni, I don't think is a lame duck head coach. All right, they did just give him an extension last offseason. Is his leash has been reattached, okay? He might have a shorter leash than he did in the past. But Nick Sirianni is not a lame duck. This is not a Super Bowl or bust upcoming season for Nick Sirianni. It's not. And I think the people that want to fire Nick Sirianni right now, okay, and hire somebody else to be the head coach, okay, right now, I think the Eagles' head coaching job would become less attractive on the open market right now than the OC job. Who would want to be the head coach of a football team that fires their head coach 1 or 2 years after winning a Super Bowl? Who would want a job that gets fired after having the 5 most successful years in the franchise's history? Who would want a job that getting to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years does not give you some leeway to lose in the playoffs? It's not like Nick Sirianni led the Eagles to a 6-win season this year. Nick Sirianni has led the Eagles to the greatest era in history. If I had an offensive line in flux, AJ in my face, and Hurts possible making business decisions, I think 2 of those 3 are there. John Gruden isn't like a Super Bowl winning coach, OC. Look, John Gruden, this is it with John Gruden. John Gruden would be awesome content. His emails alone. I would only be for John Gruden in Philly if I can get direct access to his emails at all times, right? That's it, right? I'm just, the content. All right. I'm on board for John Gruden just because of the content, right? Exactly, the content. Content is king in this world, and John Gruden. But I think it was the Jets. Was it the Jets or I forget who? I did see somebody did reach out to John Gruden for an OC opening, but he declined to go on the interview. Who would want a job with a head coach that argues with the fans? What does him getting passionate with the fan base, what does Nick Sirianni yelling at fans in the moment have to do with the OC job? What does that have to do with the OC job? Huh? Seriously. That doesn't affect how the OC works. That doesn't affect the OC's game planning, play calling. That doesn't affect anything in the locker room. All right? Nick Sirianni's passionate sessions with the fan base, if anything, is great because you want your coach to have that kind of passion, right? I just want a head coach who stalked his ex-girlfriends. What? Who did that? Isn't Frank Reich back in? Frank Reich's name has not been linked to the Eagles' job at all. At all. And it's crazy. It's crazy that he hasn't been linked. I don't want to. Frank Reich would have been at the bottom of my list. But the fact that no teams are interested, it's a red flag to me. How is this possible? Come on, guys. 13 likes, but 22 of you watching. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you have not. Drop your comments and share. It's easy. It's free. It's free to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Costs you nothing. A little Michigan joke there. Is that what the Michigan joke is? John Gruden ain't no yes man, and Eagles Laurie wants yes men. No power to use their own brain. Laurie has Chip Kelly fear. So first off this, yeah. The back end of your comment, Chip Kelly regret, fear. If you're scared, get a dog. Chip Kelly regret probably does influence Laurie in some big picture decisions. Probably influence why Nick Sirianni was the hire, right? You know, instead of other types of names that were, I think Josh McDaniel was a top candidate at that point. You want the yes man, not the big name, right? With the confidence, right? But John Gruden, talk about people that the game's passed by and life has passed by. John Gruden is it. Reich joined the Jets yet? No, he is linked to them now. But the other day when he got linked to the Jets, this is the first time I've seen anybody tweet his name out ever. Was it official now? Did this just break this morning since the show started? I don't know anything about that. But let's see. I'm going to refresh Twitter real quick. See if there's any morning breaking news here. I don't see anything breaking just yet, so that has not happened yet. Look, it is what it is. Why would you want the Jets job over the Eagles job? Why would you want any of these jobs over it? Gus Bradley was a contender to be Andy Reid's. Look, I was all aboard, K1. I was all aboard the Gus bus. Just like I was all over Robert Saleh over Nick Sirianni, right? I've always been a defensive-minded guy over an offensive guy, right? That's just me. My personal preference is to watch great football on defense than offense, right? The big names, Gus Bradley, big name, failure. Josh McDaniels would have failed. The big names fail more often than not. Reports are they're working out a deal. Okay, I haven't seen that yet. Deuce Gruden? I don't get the Deuce, but yeah, I don't want Gruden anywhere near this. No, nowhere near the NovaCare complex. I don't want Reich. Don't get me wrong. I shouldn't say I don't want Frank Reich. I think Frank Reich would be a safe, solid choice. I think your floor and ceiling is very small. You know, you're not going to get the worst offense ever, but you're also not going to ever be the greatest show on turf under Frank Reich. Okay? But you know you're going to get a solid offense that's got, you know, some unpredictability, but also some predictability to it. You know, he's not going to be flashy, Frank Reich. Frank, wink, wink, midseason, we finally make you head coach. It's possible. It's very possible with the Jets part of it. And please, no Matt Nagy, no more Andy Reid recommendations. Look, Matt Nagy is, out of all the names currently linked, Matt Nagy's my top choice. Okay? Matt Nagy, you need a coach in here that knows and understands Jalen Hurts. And again, Matt Nagy does. Matt Nagy will not try to put a round peg into a square hole with Jalen Hurts. And why wouldn't we want Andy Reid recommendations? Andy Reid is arguably one of the greatest 5 or 6 head coaches of all time. I think Matt Nagy would be he would be another one of those solid, he would be a better version of Frank Reich. Very safe. His floor ceiling is also not that wide. But again, Matt Nagy's only 47. Matt Nagy, when we talk and think about Matt Nagy, most people probably think he's in his late 50s. He's 47 years old. He wants to be a head coach again. He can come here, thrive for a year or two, and then get that next opportunity. What have Big V and Becton done since they left here? Look, Becton will be back. I don't know how Big V has done. I'm glad you said Big V and you didn't try to make me pronounce his name. I haven't practiced that name in a little while. But yeah, Becton will be waived or has been waived. Mekhi Becton will be back on the Eagles roster at some point this offseason. I would be shocked otherwise. We don't always agree, Jim. No, we do not. And I got the text message chains to prove it. But I agree with you. I want Nagy right now out of all these candidates. Out of these candidates, yeah. Look, Greg Roman, Todd Monken, they were my top names, right? Brian Dable was a top name. Now I'm glad we didn't get him, right? Let me tell you something. Right now, the names, do you want Sean Mannion? Do you want Tanner Engstrand? Do you want Joe Lombardi? Or do you want Matt Nagy? Frank Reich, not interested in going to Philly. That's what I heard. Very well may be the case. Look, I brought this up a couple days ago, Jonathan. Frank Reich and Doug Peterson are really close, right? Frank Reich has worked with Shane Steichen, too, or with Nick Sirianni as well. But Frank Reich and Doug Peterson are very close. I think there is some bad blood, ill will, quietly, secretly, between Doug Peterson and the Eagles organization. I don't think Doug Peterson wanted to leave Philly when he left Philly, right? I think Doug Peterson's firing might influence what somebody like Frank Reich thinks of coming to Philly. I think there's a possibility of that right there. Maybe I'm off base, but that's what I think. I definitely understand the hesitance for Nagy with the game moving back to the run for many teams. Look, but and I just go based off of comments, right? I know Matt Nagy's going to want to throw the ball, but Matt Nagy also says what Jalen Hurts does well is the perfect what you want in a quarterback. Ron Rivera interviewed for the Cardinals head coaching. That's how bad nobody wants that Cardinals job, right? Ron Rivera, after 2 years out of football, is their best. This is the first name I've heard linked to the Cardinals job, even remotely linked to the Cardinals job. And that's crazy. It's crazy. It's also crazy that we still only have 13 likes and there's 21 people watching. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, share, and drop your comments on everything. Speaking of Andy Reid, the Packers quarterback coach is being interviewed for OC. I had the Packers quarterback close. Which one's he? Yeah, Sean Manette. Sean Mannion. There's too many names written down here. Thoughts on Christopher Sanchez in the World Baseball Classic? I hate it. I've hated there's now, I think it's 10 or 11 Phillies playing in the World Baseball Classic. I hate it. I understand it. I understand people want to represent their country in the Olympics or the WBC. But I worry about Christopher Sanchez's arm, having to pitch high pressure innings in March. Look at a couple of years ago, Ranger Suarez fell apart after the last World Baseball Classic, where his arm didn't hold up all year long. I hate it. I hate it less for position players. I think it helps position players get in the groove a little quicker. But for pitchers, I absolutely hate it so much. I think it's like 10 or 11 Phillies are playing in the World Baseball Classic. And I don't understand Christopher Sanchez. He said he didn't want to, then he did. Were the Phillies trying to hold him back? I don't know. Philly did Duggity dirty. Gotcha. I agree, Phil. Doug loves Philly, but bad blood drips between men and Eagles. I think it's got to be part of the Frank Reich part too, right, Jonathan? Right? Don't you have if somebody did one of your best friends wrong, wouldn't you feel some kind of feeling for them as well? Mannion. Yeah, I know how to say Mannion. I was looking at like three names at the same time. I was combining them all into one. I've never watched World Baseball Classic and never will. I watch a few minutes of it here and there. I watch the championship game. I love baseball. I don't think the World Baseball Classic ever took off like baseball wanted it to. But on the flip side, it has succeeded more than I thought it would. Dominicans, Cubans, Japanese, countries outside of the U.S. and Canada really have taken a lot of pride for representing their countries, especially in things like the Olympics and the World Baseball Classic, the World Cup, etc. So while the World Baseball Classic might not mean anything, it means something to them. Don't you care about your country? I do. After practice, we got ice cream in the fridge. Hey, after practice, we got ice cream in the fridge. What? True. Look, the World Baseball Classic to me is a lot of risk. I worry about the Phillies pitching staff this year. I do. I really do. You look at it, Zach Wheeler, when will he be back and what will he be? Aaron Nola, can he rebound? Christopher Sanchez, can he rebound? Okay? And you're putting extra stressful innings on his arm. Luzardo, will there be any regression from him? Wheeler or Painter, what will he be like? And you're putting one of your top people, Christopher Sanchez, that you're going to rely on in harm's way for a meaningless event. Do you think A.J. Brown wants Nick Sirianni fired? I don't know. Can I question your question? Do you mean, do I think A.J. Brown went to Howie Roseman or his agent and said, I want out of Philly unless A.J. Brown or Nick Sirianni gets fired? Or are you just thinking in his head, does he not like working for Nick Sirianni and would prefer someone to be head coach? I need context on your question. Did he specifically ask for it, or is he just thinking it? I need that. Phillies starters are what-ifs. The entire Phillies roster and organization is a big, giant what-if, okay? Your hockey team is in the Stanley Cup. What national announcer do you want? I'm going with Gary Thorne. I couldn't name a single national Stanley Cup or hockey announcer. I couldn't. I couldn't name. So sure, Gary Thorne. I'll take your word on it. I couldn't name. I watch the Stanley Cup every year, but I couldn't tell you who the announcers are. Okay, so do I think? All right, so we're saying thinking it that A.J. Brown wants Nick Sirianni fired. Yeah, I think he thought this at times. It's one of those weird thoughts that gets in your head in the middle of the night. I don't know. I think A.J. Brown wanted Kevin Patullo fired. I think he might have even said it and asked for it. Do I think he thinks about getting Nick Sirianni fired? Maybe. I was hoping you said, did he say it openly to anybody? I had an answer prepared for that. No, he would not say that openly. Go, Howie, fire him. But he probably thinks it. But I don't even know if he does think it. I don't even know if he fully believes it. Okay? Eagles have the best roster in football. Why do coaches keep saying no? Jeff Stoutland won't budge, and guys would rather go elsewhere. At what point do we admit this is a dysfunctional organization? Well, if the Philadelphia Eagles are dysfunctional, then I love dysfunction then. Because if it's dysfunctional, every organization should want to be dysfunctional like the Eagles. Every fan base out there would take the Eagles' dysfunction over their own organization because of the success. Look, yeah, Jeff Stoutland, they want to keep him. All right? It's not like that stopped Kellen Moore or Shane Steichen from succeeding, right? So, if you can't handle the Eagles' situation of success, then I don't want you here coaching my offense anyway. Plain and simple. Jeff Stoutland is part of the package. Yes, he did struggle as the Eagles' O-line coach and run game coordinator last year. Yes, he's also arguably the greatest O-line coach of the last 50 years. So if you don't want to work with Jeff Stoutland, then you're too paranoid or stubborn to fit in this city. It's a nonsense comment that I won't even say out loud. I was ahead of the curve. I've been saying McDermott needs to go for years, okay? Years. I remember a few years ago, Trey Turner played in the Baseball Classic and was on fire. Then he started the season slow. Great point, Adam. We thought we were getting Captain America, right? Hit that big home run in that clutch moment. I remember it. Pulled the ball down the right field or left field line with his little torpedo swing. That did not translate, did it? Did not translate to the regular season at all. So the World Baseball Classic, even the thought process I'm putting out there, it's not necessarily true, right? So, yeah, I don't like the Baseball Classic. I don't like the process of it. I don't like when it's played. Don't like it at all. Don't like my players playing in it either. Not at all. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion, and I'll stick to it. But again, back to Minnesota Fat's comment. The fact that at just Stoutland being forced to remain on part of the roster, even remotely being part of the reason why you wouldn't want the job. Come on now. Ridiculous. The NFL has purposely made it difficult to sustain success. It's that simple. People have issues metabolizing falling short expectations. How they made it difficult to sustain success? Because there's sustained success in Philly for the most part. We've had one losing season in the last 10 years. And I want people, I like the part of your comment, about falling short of expectations, but the rest of it, I just don't know. How's the poll going? Okay. Who is to blame for the lack of an OC yet being hired by the Eagles? No one wants to work with Nick Sirianni. Has gained some momentum. 29% of the vote. No one wants to coach Jalen Hurts. 12% of the vote. Philly fans egging houses and are dangerous. 12%. And none of the above, be patient, is down from 50s to 47%. That's where the poll is. Guys, we're past the top of the hour. This is Trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network. Yes, we are having one final conversation on the Eagles OC search. I promise you, this is the last main conversation until the person is chosen. We're not going to debate names after today. We'll talk about who it is when it's done. Starting tomorrow, if we don't have an OC search, we'll start doing a stay or go series, or a grade the players, or I don't know. We'll do something else tomorrow with the Eagles, okay? If they don't have their guy picked by tomorrow or by tonight, okay? I'm done with it. We're talking Sixers. Big win over the Bucks last night with a lot of key things happening. We'll talk that this week and today. And the Phillies, Sanchez playing the World Series, Bill Belichick not getting into the Hall of Fame. Such a bogus horse crap. That's what's on the board right now today. So, guys, if you haven't liked, subscribe, share. Let's continue the conversation. Let's continue marching forward today. Let's continue marching forward to that 1,000 subscriber mark. Let's do it. We haven't gained any today yet, but we're pushing forward. Intentional parity, the cap, the contracts, more teams. It's way harder to sustain success. It is way harder for teams to sustain success, I guess, overall, big picture. But smart franchises do have sustained success, right? The Chiefs, the Eagles. I mean, to an extent, the Bills have sustained playoff success for the last 7, 8, 9 years, I guess. But I'm looking at it. The Rams have had some sustained success over the last 5 or 7 years because they've had a strong coach in front office. But, yeah, there's not many teams with major long-term success in the NFL. The contracts, the salary cap, all part of it, sure. Yeah, I guess so. It is so cold. So freaking cold. When it's Tuesday and it's 37 next week, it's going to feel like shorts weather. Does head coach Sirianni have authority to take run game duties from Stoutland? Does Nick have the total autonomy as head coach? He claims to have demoted. He never said demoted. He never used the word demoted. His actual first statement that then got pulled down said that he wishes him well in whatever job he takes next. He might still be here, Kevin Patul, in some role. But on Jeff Stoutland, I think he could take run game duties away from Jeff Stoutland. That wasn't always Jeff Stoutland's job. Jeff Stoutland took that on, along with losing his top assistant, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe Stoutland needs to lose the run game portion of his job, right? Just focus just on the O-line, developing the next guys, getting the guys that you have in better shape. Maybe that would be a smart thing to do. I hear a lot of people saying that XOC wants to bring their own run game coordinator to the table. And if they can't, they don't want to. Jeff Stoutland, though, if you've got to choose Jeff Stoutland or not, I mean, I'm going to keep Jeff Stoutland 9 times out of 10. Because despite him being an okay run game coordinator, he's a great offensive line coach. He has his track record of success. It's crazy. If he wanted to, Jeff Stoutland could be the O-line coach on any team in football if he got fired. So the question shouldn't be, does he have the authority to take the duties away? It's, would Nick Sirianni take the duties away to get a specific candidate? Is there a candidate out there that is so unbelievably the right choice that you just know for sure is the right choice that you'd be willing to lose Jeff Stoutland, period, over? That should be the question. And there's not one offense coordinator in this whole process that is worth losing Jeff Stoutland over. All right? There's not one guy that I would say, well, it's Jeff Stoutland or. There's nobody like that. Let me ask you this. What was the Eagles' identity this season? A fight to the end, never give up, never surrender attitude. I guess until the end of the season. Then they gave up on the last play. Yes, the identity of this team was defense first. The identity of this team was not on the offense. I get it. There was not the identity that we look for, right? It wasn't the run game. It wasn't the pass game. It wasn't physicality. The identity of the offense was conservative. And the identity of the team was defense. Plain and simple. The identity was no sacks. Look, the sacks did not come this year. I get it. I know it. I understand that. The Eagles need to address the pass rush, for sure. And I'm okay with them addressing that. I'm okay with all that. But I don't understand what the identity of the team. I mean, teams need an identity. I get that. But, what's it say? The Eagles' identity was non-complementary strengths on offense, which eroded away the dominant portion of the D. It's a very deep way of phrasing that the Eagles' offense stunk and wore out the defense very quickly. That's a very, very fancy way of saying the truth. You could have said it with a lot less big words or fancy phrasing, okay? The identity was the offense stunk and wore out the defense. Plain and simple. I know that. You know that. We all know that, right? But there's still an identity. This was not a total loss. This season wasn't a let's fire everybody and blow it up type season. Let's be honest. We got spoiled over the last couple of years with this Eagles team. Spoiled. And because we're spoiled, we're not willing to figure out how we can regain the momentum. We want to start all over again. Because firing Nick Sirianni would be starting all over again. And firing Nick Sirianni and moving on to any other unproven coach would be a disaster. Identity, built to run, forced to pass. But they never forced to pass. They kept running, despite it not working. I think that's a big part of it. The unwillingness to pivot. You go into the season with an identity, right? Or a goal of what you want the identity to be. That's what you do. You go into the season with an idea. This is what I want our team to look like. This is what I want our team to be known as. It doesn't always work out. Once the pieces get on the field, sometimes you got to pivot. Not just the play on 3rd down and 7 from the 47-yard line, but sometimes you got to pivot on that identity. And you got to be willing to do that. And the Eagles didn't pivot from that. I don't know. I don't know what we got to do. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Consistency is getting plays in late. Look, I started talking about that in training camp. Okay? I started talking about it in preseason games. Like, look, I know they're the backups, and I know it's preseason, but it's taking too long. From second one, I questioned the Kevin Patula hiring, and from second one of the season, I questioned the timing of plays. And it was definitely an issue. I understand, Phil. That should be the question. Look, I don't want to say people's questions are wrong. or points are wrong. I think the question is, why didn't they try to change their identity? Why couldn't they pivot, right? But the thing is, it didn't work, right? Fine. I'm not firing Nick Sirianni. I'm not moving on from Jalen Hurts. And I would not even consider it at this point. You can't give any quarterback 5 seconds to audible. Look, everyone wants to know why. Why Nick Sirianni or Jalen Hurts didn't just audible every play at the line that was so terrible, right? Well, when you get to the line of scrimmage and it's 3, 2, 1 snap every time, when's he supposed to audible? Where's the time to audible? Where's the time to read what the defense is doing? You know, one of the key things with motion in an offense, right? One of the key things for motion is to give your quarterback time to see what the defense is doing, right? To see whether you're in zone, man coverage, too deep, whatever it may be, right? Where's the blitz coming from? When you get to the line of scrimmage with 3, 4 seconds left, there's no time to run somebody in motion. To see, to dissect, and then audible if necessary. You had some good troll hot takes. Tweet them out with your show. Prove me wrong. I never have troll hot takes. A.J. Brown ruined the identity as well. Look, that's fair. A.J. Brown deserves plenty of criticism. Plenty. For this year. For the way he acted and the way he performed. No doubt about it, Mitchie Poo. The biggest thing, though, is that despite all that, he's still one of the best wide receivers in football. And he's still a guy that you're going to have a hell of a hard time replacing if you trade him. So unless you get a max return from him in a trade, you can't trade him. You just can't. You can't. Most you could do is the small kill package. Yeah, pretty much. And even that, with 4 seconds left on the line of scrimmage, that creates too much confusion. How many almost sacks did they have this year? I don't know. They might have set the record for almost sacks this year. They may have. I think the record was 61.7. I think they got 68.1 this year. The Sam Darnold take, keep it going. The Sam Darnold take, despite it being a great take and hilarious, does not get the traction you would think. I think it took long to get plays in with Sirianni and Petula arguing over what plays to call. No, I don't think that is it. I don't think Nick Sirianni had anything to do with the plays being called. Each play individually, maybe certain situations, but that's it. I think it was Kevin Petula. You got to be able to process information fast to be a play caller. You got to see the play. You got to react to what the next situation is going to be and call a play fast. Kevin Petula is looking at a play sheet with 900 plays on it. Oh, I don't know. Which one should I call? Which way did he go? Which way did he go? And I just don't think he can. I think Kevin Petula probably is a great offensive mind. But Kevin Petula couldn't process fast enough to get the right plays called in a quick enough amount of time. Plain and simple. And look, it failed. We knew there was a chance it was going to fail. Let me tell you something. Facebook memories always get me, right? I love Facebook memories because it reminds me of what we talked about on any given day in a previous year, right? I'm going to pull it up, okay? So where is it? Where is it? Where was today's topic? Today's topic in 2024. Title of the show. Well, title of the show, breaking news, Kellen Moore is the new OC. First line of the description. I have mixed feelings on the Kellen Moore hiring. We weren't all sold on Kellen Moore. We weren't all sold on Kevin Petula. One worked out, one didn't. One was hired fast. One was an exhaustive search. Let's see what happens. Oh, your post have links. Looks good. Yeah. Such a world of difference between pass game coordinator and OC. Absolutely. Quarterback coach, passing game coordinator, offensive assistant, and OC. Massive, massive difference. And it's a great point, Nooms. It is. Not everybody can call plays. Not everybody has the capacity to break down what they're seeing and call the next play and call in 2 or 3 plays so the quarterback has options. Massive, massive difference there. You could be you could be an OC and a good OC if you have a head coach that's calling the plays. I think Kevin Petula could be a great offensive coordinator in a situation like Chicago with Ben Johnson calling the plays, or with Sean McVay in L.A. I did shovel. I got a clear path. There was a lot of snow that came down in multiple shifts. Anyway, what are you doing? Going through my YouTube page videos now and shorts? Is that what you're doing? I'm not sure what you're doing right now. You're not contributing to the conversation in a positive way. Anyway. Again, this is it. We got about 10, 15 minutes left on the show today. We can still talk Sixers. We can still talk Jarrett McKean and Paul George. I'm going to make a Joel Embiid statement in a second. But we are talking the Eagles OC search for the last time. The next time we talk the OC search, it's going to be after they hire somebody, right? I may have. I don't know. Kellen Moore's pedigree definitely did not give everyone warm and fuzzies. Exactly. Kellen Moore's pedigree left some to be desired, right? It's not like he had massive success with the Chargers or the Cowboys. It was what it was. I don't remember who the other names were that year. Good morning, Elephant in the Room. Coming into the final 15 here. Well, retweet your Sam Darnold tweet. I don't see it. All right, well, I'm not going to do it right now. I'm hosting a show. All right? I want to say something on Joel Embiid. I do. And what I want to say on Joel Embiid is last night, I never thought I'd be in the spot where we are now at the Sixers, where at 31 years old, Joel Embiid is able to dominate the way he is, despite all the injuries, despite all the missed time, despite being 31 with all those injuries. The fact that he's having the season he's having in the last couple weeks, month, and rebounding form and getting confident and looking like he's confident in his knee, I never thought we'd be here again. I never thought we'd get to the point of seeing dominant Joel Embiid again. And I love it. I'm so happy for Joel Embiid that he's able to go out there and play somewhat to his level. And as he gets healthier and healthier and more confident, you're starting to see that spark in his eye back again. You're starting to see him gain confidence in himself again. I love it. I would have never thought in a million years that 31-year-old Joel Embiid, after what I've seen over the last 2 or 3 years, would ever be what he is right now. And I love it. And I'm happy for it. And go Sixers for that. I was floored that he didn't make Hurts throw 40 times a game. Kellen Moore? Yeah. But see, that's the thing that made Kellen Moore better than Kevin Petula. Kellen Moore was able to adjust his philosophies. Kellen Moore was able to pivot to what was working, right? Kevin Petula wouldn't. We're still stuck on 13, 14 likes. Guys, there's people in the chat and watching right now that haven't hit the like button. Please do that. I'd greatly appreciate it. The one thing that concerned me about the Sixers game, Joe normally owns Miles Turner offensively and defensively. Look, yeah, I mean, Miles Turner put up buckets last night. And Miles Turner developed a three-point shot all of a sudden. I don't know when that came around. But, look, Joel Embiid still has work to do defensively. He does. But he's getting there. That's the thing. He is getting there. Josh Allen Turner Machine. Great name. Yeah, exactly. I really hope he turns up the defensive intensity in the playoffs. Yeah, I still think that he's growing. He's gaining ground. He's getting better. What are we at now? How many games in? We're 46 games into the season. He's missed like 18 of them. When he gets that 35, 40 games and played, Mark, then we'll really, truly understand where Joel Embiid is. But he's missed 18 games. There's 46. So he's played about 25 to 30 games. Given our 10 or 15 games on the court, then we'll really, truly know where he is. He'll always be the man chatter and me too as well. Before we hired Kellen Moore, we interviewed Cliff Kingsbury and Jared Johnson. Guess what? Jared Johnson's been interviewed again this time. Okay? Just like Nate Skeelhouse. You know, they like to go back to the well. That's why you interview so many people now. So down the line, you've got a reputation with these guys already, right, Adam? I'm shocked Cliff Kingsbury's name hasn't been more involved with all the coaching and OC searches. 18 offensive coordinator spots, 10 head coaching spots. You've heard a little sprinkle of Kingsbury here or there, but not much. I'm kind of shocked, and I wonder why. But yeah, Jerk Johnson, I have no problem. We talked about Jerk Johnson yesterday. I have no problem with Jerk Johnson being the guy, if he's the guy. Johnny Glasnow deserves the key to city. Who's that? Is that the guy that worked on Joel's knee? I'm not even sure who Johnny Glasnow is. But anyway, we are into the final 5 to 10 minutes of the show today. So keep clicking buttons, keep dropping your comments. Look, I still think by the end of this week we will know the answer. And hell, I think we might get the answer later today, if not tomorrow, on who the next OC will be for this Eagles team. I really, truly do. It will not go into another weekend, okay? It might be one of those things where we have to do a breaking show on Friday night, okay? But we'll get it done. But this is it. If you have any more opinions on who it should be, now's the time to get it out. Because that's it. Well, 10 head coaches ties the record most ever in an offseason. And think about it, 18. More than 50% of the teams are going to have new offensive coordinators next year, Adam. Just think about that. That's an insane number. And we're worried that the Eagles are being, detailed in their search. Because, look, I say that it doesn't matter if the Eagles go one and done at OC. It doesn't hamper Jalen Hurts that much, really. The Eagles want some continuity. I'm sure they would love some continuity. It's not a requirement, but they would like it. They want to build upon something here. Orthosurgeon extraordinaire. Gotcha. Yeah, I assumed that's what he was, one of Joel Embiid's surgeons, but I couldn't assume that and be accurate on it. Good, though. Who would have thought? Maybe Joel Embiid should have just sat out all of last year. Maybe. Maybe he shouldn't have played in the Olympics. Record number of openings, and Baiters are internally blaming. Yeah, look. I love how he said Baiters there. It looked like Baiters. There are literally 18 jobs. There's about 30 names, 40 names, and 18 jobs. It's such a process. All right? Like patience. Why not? Phil loves continuity. Why do people give me so much trouble for my Jim Thome face on a stick up there? Jim Thome, come on now. That's cool. All right? It's a top 5 thing behind me. All right? It's got to be, right? My Jim Thome, my fins up, my Harry Cow's picture here, my Eric Rowan sheep's mask, my Philly Fanatic doll. They're all my favorite things. Jared Johnson's a big no. He'll be fired in year 2. I think Jared Johnson was a fast-rising name that ended up regressing with C.J. Stroud. I don't think it's a big no. Is he my top choice? No, Jonathan. But I don't think he's a guaranteed failure here. I think he's got some traits to work with there. What's some Big Beach trade value right now? Still not much, Steven. I saw somebody tweet out last night that you should trade him now that he's at his peak. You're still not getting much for Joel Embiid if you did try to trade him right now. There's still too many questions about the knees and his long-term health, and his contract is just an albatross. So there's no real way to trade him. You basically are riding or dying for the next 3 years with Joel Embiid. Plain and simple. Honestly, Maxey has run more court distance than anyone in NBA history. It's crazy. He's gassed right now. Good morning, Robert. Welcome to the show a little late today. Hope you're well today. Gentlemen, Jim is one of my all-time favorites. Me too. Because Jim Thome, he signaled, it was really the signing of Jim Thome that signaled a change in Phillies culture, all right, and the expectations of winning. So, yeah, not enough Eagles swag. I know there's not. There's an Eagles picture behind my head, right? There's an Eagles logo right there. That might be the only Eagles thing. And I got Eagles encyclopedias back there, and Birds of a Prey by Rob Motti. That's back there as well. So that's it. There's only 3 Eagles things behind me. Get some Eagles. Buy me some Eagles merch. I had an Eagles football, and I gave it to Duck. Robert, what's going down? Hakeem first ring at age 32. Joe still at 30. Interesting. Look at that one right there. Joel Embiid following Hakeem alive. This would be the year the Sixers win a title. The year that we didn't care, right? The year that we had no expectations. The year that we didn't think anything was going to happen. That would be the year that the Sixers win a title, right? But look at that. Hakeem and Joe. Love it. I'm going to write that down, actually. Write it down. We might have to tweet that out there later. What's it say now? Get a gritty to go with the Fanatic. Yeah, no. Look, I should. There should be a Flyers gritty there. There's a Flyers are in the picture with the Eagles up there. All right, there we go. That's where it is. Trying to point to things behind me is not easy. But I am obviously dominant with Phillies merch. Look, I crap on the Phillies. I am not looking forward to the chore of the 2026 Phillies season that is upcoming, but I still love them. I still will watch a little bit of every game. I'll probably do more Phillies watch parties than Sixers watch parties this year. I get it. I'm a Phillies guy. Baseball's in my blood. I wanted nothing more in life than to be this man right here, all right, growing up. I just had no ounce of athleticism. That's one of the best things of closing the pizza shop. I could bring my Mike Schmidt poster and my in the house of a Phillies fan cheer accordingly that were hanging up at the pizza shop. I finally got to bring them home. That was one of the best things. Got to add them to my wall collection back here. Although that is covering up October a little bit back there. Anyway, we're getting ready to wrap this show up for the day. Tomorrow, we will either talk who the new OC is, or we will start our stay or go series on the Eagles. We'll start offensively with the free agents and the potential people that we need to move on and contracts. We'll start offensively tomorrow. Then Friday, maybe we'll go defensively. If we don't have an OC by Friday morning, we'll start breaking down the Eagles' free agents. All right? And guys they need to move on from or not move on from. We will start that. That means, obviously, A.J. Brown will be in the conversation tomorrow. Because there's not many free agents on offense. But we'll start that process tomorrow. We'll figure the details out tomorrow, unless an OC gets hired. We'll wait till very late in the night to set up tomorrow's show. Patience. I'm always patient. I'm the most patient guy. I'm just tired of arguing about this. The reason why I want to move on from the Eagles OC conversation and topic is because it's so divisive. All right? What's the title of the show? Why are the Eagles dividing us so much? Why? There's no need to be divided on this. And that's what it is. I've already run a couple mock drafts and posted them on Twitter, K1. Well, maybe we'll do a mock draft tomorrow, too. Who knows? Maybe we'll do one on Friday. Who knows? I haven't done enough research on any of these guys yet to know much. But I do know what the Eagles need. So we can go based off of, best available, based off of positions of need for sure. And you guys can grade me. Absolutely, we'll do them. We'll do one a week at least from now till the draft, right? But we're not far off. We're getting close. I saw the schedule tweeted out. We're only a couple weeks away from franchise tags, from free agency beginning, the illegal tampering. We're not far away from the real offseason beginning for the Philadelphia Eagles. But we got to get this OC search finished first, right? But we're not talking about it after today until the hire's done. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Everybody have a great day. Please like, subscribe, share. Guys watch it. Go find me. We're 5 away. Everybody's going to see somebody today. The next person you see, ask them, are they subscribed? If not, take their phone and subscribe for me. Don't even ask them to do it. Take their phone from them and force them to subscribe. Okay? It's going to be very soon, but I want it today. I don't want it tomorrow or Friday. I want it today. So go take someone's phone, Josh Allen, and force them to subscribe. Plain and simple. It's that easy. Anyway, everybody have a great Wednesday. It's going to be cold again. But for now, till we talk again, go Birds and bubbles up.